Hi, so with the news all about the patch 7.3 PTR where we actually go to Argus, that's sort of out now. I'm going to do quite a bit on that at the weekend when I'm actually going to get to try it out properly. But couldn't help but notice the list of bosses for the Argus raid, which will not be coming out anytime soon, of course, because we've only just gone into the Tomb of Sargeras. So this is probably going to be towards the end of the year, maybe around about BlizzCon time, maybe even later, who knows. But there are a number of bosses in there, and most of the bosses, of course, we won't really know about. We'll have to get into the storyline of Argus to find out about. There's one really crucial character there that we do know about. There's a couple of characters we know about, and there's a very interesting sounding one right at the end of it, which I'm going to talk about more at the weekend. But Aggramar is in there. Now, where might you have heard of Aggramar before? Well, if you're a plate user, you may well have Aggramar's Stride, which are the plate boots, which give you a speed increase. But who is he exactly? Well, first of all, he is a Titan. Now, this opens up a massive can of worms. For a start, I'm going to have to go back and read my Warcraft Chronicles, because here's me under the impression that the Titans, apart from Sargeras, are all dead. The Pantheon has fallen. It's right there in the Warcraft Chronicles, where it's the lore that is now set in stone. We know Blizzard retcon all sorts of things. They've retconned a lot of things in Legion. But the Warcraft Chronicles, this is where they sort of set it all in stone. So now I need to go back. Presumably the way it was written, and I didn't appreciate this at the time, opens it up for some Titans to still be alive, but the Pantheon is dead, like the leaders of the Titans, so to speak. But who was Aggramar? So, Aggramar, I nearly said then. So Sargeras, of course, we know about. He was the greatest warrior of the Pantheon, and he was charged with dealing with the demon threat. And he discovered that you couldn't just kill demons because, as we know now, their souls go back to the Twisted Nether, they coalesce, form another form, and they're back out again. You can't destroy them. So he hit upon the idea of imprisoning them. So he created the demon world, such as Mardom. And he had a helper. He had a little gopher with him, who was Aggramar, his lieutenant. And they decided to go their separate ways and capture demons and lock them into these prison worlds. Sargeras at some point down the line decided that it was futile because, you know, there was no final victory against the Void, that sort of thing. So the only way to deal with that was to stop, you know, basically these embryonic Titans becoming corrupted, was to just destroy them all. He had to destroy all worlds that could possibly be corrupted by the Void. Aggramar was very much not in favour of this at all. He was a good guy, as we might see it. And he was very different to Sargeras as well. He wasn't hot-headed, all the rest of it. But let's get onto the key bits here in terms of who he is. The fact that he is a Titan. Now, we were theorising whether or not Sargeras was going to be the end boss on Argus. I'm very pleased to say it's not. The main reason I didn't think it would be, and certainly didn't want it to be, was not because I didn't think we could as such in terms of storyline, but because I see the Burning Legion as being the main existential threat in the World of Warcraft game. Yes, we know from lore point of view, the greatest threat completely is from the Void, but that hasn't really seeped into a lot of the storyline. It's there, but it's only really there and noticeable if you read around the subject. If you just play the game, you don't know a lot about it, but the Burning Legion is very much there. And so to finish that off is to throw the World of Warcraft into a completely new phase of a storyline, which people might not appreciate. So I you know, didn't think that would be the case. But some people were arguing, well, we can't do it because he's a Titan, he's just too big, we can't possibly do it. Which I never bought, really. And this sort of is going to go some way to disproving it. We don't know the details, of course. But Aggramar is a Titan, and he's a powerful Titan. In fact, he has half of Sargeras' sword. You know, the sword Sargeras has at the moment is basically a shard of its former glory, and Aggramar has the other shard. It's like a good and an evil part to it. I suppose it's like the two swords, completely forgotten the name of it now, that you can get in Zul'Farrak, and then you get both of them, you combine it into an epic sword. It's that sort of thing. And Aggramar would dearly love to get Sargeras' bit of sword and combine them together to make this awesome, powerful weapon. So he has the other shard of the sword at the moment. And so we are going to be fighting a Titan. So this opens up many, many questions. So the people who are thinking, oh, we can't do it, we cannot fight a Titan, we're going to, in some form at least, we don't know the details. No one's suggesting we're going to suddenly in the raid walk into a room. Oh, look, there's a Titan there. It can't work like that. Of course it can't. But in some form, we are going to be doing something. Is it going to be an avatar of Aggramar? That would seem strange, but not impossible. Then it asks the other question. Why are we fighting him? Why is he pissed off with us? You know, we're sort of on the same side, bro. You know, we're both fighting the Legion here. What's the dealio? Why are we fighting him? Is it going to be in the same way that we fought sort of several keepers in the game? We've fought Raden, we've fought Thorim, and that silly gnome, mechanical gnome. I know its name really, but gnomes don't have names. And Freya. You know, is it going to be one of those fights where, although there are boss fights, same as Odin, I suppose now, there's so many keepers. We've done this with about half the keepers now, haven't we? Where it's a boss fight, and although we're fighting them, we don't end up killing them because they agree that we're all on the same side at the end of it. Is it going to be one of those things? I would like to limit the number of those encounters because I think it's a little bit of a cop-out, but it easily could be that scenario where either... I don't think it'll be like Odin where he's testing us out because twice in one expansion seems a bit weird, but maybe it's one of those where sees us as an enemy, maybe like Algalon, you know, and then we convince him that actually we are powerful allies. And actually, do you know what? We are both on the same side. Stop. You know, here's a chest of loot. Well done. We're on the same side now. But however it works out, this is really, really interesting. And I'm sure has thrown everyone off guard. But then the other thing to remember is this. This is just what Blizzard have announced so far and what's been data mined from that 7.3 patch PTR. This is the very early days. There are going to be months of surprises yet to come. And that's just on the PTR cycle. As they put in more, because remember the PTR doesn't go up with all of 7.3 in it, it's just a little bit. They haven't done all of it yet. But even when we have, and 7.3 itself launches, there will still be more surprises to come there. Just like we had surprises in 7.2.5, and it's only been out a couple of weeks, that we weren't aware of even at the end of the PTR cycle for that. So I can't wait to get stuck into this, but those are my thoughts on there. On you know, the idea that although we're not going to be fighting the Titan, it looks like we are going to be fighting a Titan. So now we can start to speculate exactly how that's going to work out. And then we can also start to be speculating on the nature of the final boss of the raid, which might be along the similar sort of lines to what people were suggesting about Argus itself sort of being a Titan soul in a way. Maybe even part of Sargeras, like a Horcrux type thing. But more speculation on that later. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, don't forget to subscribe for further content. And until next time, I'll see you later.